Hailing from the Jersey Shore and raised as athletes, the Airey Bros have always shared a passion for physical culture, athletic performance, and human optimization, always striving to be the strongest versions of themselves, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Along the way, they've met some pretty amazing humans and have had some pretty epic adventures. The intention of Airey Bros Radio is to showcase these amazing people and the impact that they've had on them, and to share tips, tricks, and hacks so that you can win each day, every day.
You're listening to Airey Bros Radio. Be there or be square, because it's all killer, no filler.
Hold on, just for a little added effect.
Yes. Let's go. The champ is here. Yes.
I mean, I'm a brand, and the Turbo brand is pretty strong too. Look, man, there's this thing called ROH. Trust me, you're gonna love this. One of those moments where you kind of get a little glimpse. I could push a fast pace and a hard pace for a long time. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of the other guys out there, even the other cardio freaks out there. They can't do it like me. Cardiovascularly, if you are cardiovascularly responsible, you should always be able to do 3 5s. You know what I'm saying? When I walk into the gym, I'm hyping everybody up. So if I'm doing that when nobody's around, when I have a microphone and a camera in front of me, you best believe I'm going to be going crazy too, man. This is Turbo Phumi Nkuta, the only world champion to have never been hit, never been touched, never been taken down. And you are listening to Airey Bros Radio.
Dude, so, I mean, first and foremost, I know you from Rhino back in the day, and then, you know, I saw you at some ROH shows back in the day. I think that was probably the last time we saw each other, and then the next thing I know, you're cutting promos next to CM Punk, so.
Pretty crazy, right?
What's that like for you? Because I know how much of a hardcore pro wrestling fan you are. I mean, we both had Bullet Club shirts in like 2013, so we're definitely old school marks. What's it like for you to be in the cage next to CM Punk?
Hold on, just for a little added effect.
Let's go. The champ is here. Yes.
Nah, man, but I'll tell you what, it feels great, man. It's I don't want to say like it feels like a dream come true, because obviously it's not, man. I got a UFC run to do, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those moments where you kind of get a little glimpse of things starting to work out in your favor, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, to be able to be next to CM Punk, cutting a promo, man, like it just gives you a little taste that, all right, man, one, you're on the right track, you're doing the right thing, and you're kicking ass, and two, not for nothing, man, it's just motivating to keep on going even more, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to be a fan of the guy, and I buy his shoes and I buy, you know, his shirt and, you know, a hoodie or whatever, and I go to his shows, but it's another to take some of the things that he does in his life and take some of the ideas and you know, ideologies and things that he goes by in his life and bring them into mine, and then get to do it in front of him. So it's motivating too.
Talk about cutting that promo. Is that something that is that a freestyle? Do you practice some things? Do you have maybe some notes or some ideas that you maybe want to hit, or you not? I know for me, I probably wouldn't want to necessarily. I mean, obviously you want to go into the fight knowing you're going to win, but you also don't want to maybe set yourself up or think too far ahead of the game. So is it all freestyle? Do you have some things you think about? Maybe you spit out in front of the mirror when you're getting ready or anything like that during the day-to-day?
Brother, I freestyle. You know what it is, man? Like, if you think about it, man, then it's just too phony. It's too fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I gotta say this on the mic, or I gotta say this. Nah, man, like that's not the way I roll, man. At the end of the day, like, what you see on that microphone and what you see on camera, that's me, 110%. You know what I'm saying? When I walk into the gym, I'm hyping everybody up. So if I'm doing that when nobody's around, when I have a microphone and a camera in front of me, you best believe I'm going to be going crazy too, man. So end of the day, those promos are all straight from the heart, all straight from the vest.
And is that something that has always been a part of who you are and part of your being, your personality, or is that something you've grown into as you've been in the fight game and become more and more successful and now have the belt on have the strap on your shoulder?
A little bit of both, man. Because I can't lie, like, you know, I can't say I never talked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not a trash talker either, but I'm just one of those guys, man. I believe I'm good in this sport. I believe I'm great. Other people have told me I'm great. And if someone doesn't think I'm great, I'm gonna have to tell them so that way they know I am. You know what I mean? But at the same time, the more I fight, the more I step in that ring, the more I get in that octagon, the more I win some more gold, the more I end up being more confident, the more I want to talk, the more I want to let people know I'm the best, because I'm proving it to them and myself that I actually am the best.
So saying you're the best, you're around some of the best in the world. You train with Aljamain. So you obviously know you're the best, right? But the people coming up might not know you're the best. But like I was saying, you train at Longo's, right? But
Yeah.
you're from, what are you from? New Brunswick?
From South Brunswick, yeah.
South Brunswick. So how did you get up at Longo's? How did you make that transition from South Brunswick up to Long Island?
Yeah, man, it was a long one, man. But it was school, obviously, because wherever I wanted to go to college, I wanted to also train to fight. You know what I mean? I knew when I was young I wanted to be a professional fighter. I was already putting in, a lot of the steps to do that. Why I joined the wrestling team and Rhino was actually, I got into wrestling from a buddy of mine who was like, "Look, man, if you want to fight, you should probably do wrestling." So, I just always wanted to do it my whole life, and I was gonna go to Concordia University up in Montreal, actually, and trained with George St. Pierre, Faraz Sahabi, those guys. I visited the school, trained there even a little bit, and had some fun there, man. But they got back to me a little bit late, so I eventually ended up picking Hofstra University. It's like half a mile down from the road, man, and literally I moved my stuff in, and that very next day, man, I walked to the gym. I remember too, because it was a long walk on a cloudy day, and I just had all my bags off me, and I just made that long walk, man. No car, no nothing.
So was the transition to Hofstra, was that more MMA than wrestling? Was the heart in MMA?
Yeah, it was, because I knew wherever I wanted to go to school, I wanted to fight, man. So, if I was in Canada, I wanted to go to school in a spot with a gym nearby. So I wanted to go to Concordia and maybe go to TriStar, you know what I mean, which was down the road. And then for Hofstra, I'd seen Long Island MMA, I'd seen a couple of gyms. I was thinking about Rutgers too, but I didn't know of any of the gyms nearby, you know what I'm saying? So, I wanted to pick a good wrestling school, but I also wanted to pick a good, a good school with a good gym nearby, man, because ultimately fighting was my goal.
Did you wrestle at all at Hofstra?
Nah, man, I wrestled with the guys. I wrestled with a bunch of the guys. We got Jamie Franco, who's now, I don't know if he's still the assistant coach, but he was definitely the assistant coach. Runs a great wrestling program out here. Kills it, man. And so I would actually still to this day I practice with him a bunch, but we'd work together all the time, man. It was great work.
And what was that like when you first got there? Or was it kind of being thrown to the wolves? And was there ever a question of what am I doing?
Yeah. On 100%. Look, it's when you're chasing for a dream, man, it's not gonna be one of those things where you go out there and you're like, oh, bet, like I chased this dream. Oh, it's right there. They're just handing me this on a silver platter. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man. I remember my first day wrestling at Hofstra. Hell, not even first day, man. The first couple weeks, dude, I was getting tossed. You know what I mean? I was feeling a different level of strength. I was feeling a different level of cardio. You know what I mean? And even when I thought I was better than some guys who weren't even, starting on the team, I was getting hit with a different level of technique. You know what I'm saying? And never mind that, when I went to the gym, to Longos, and then now I'm training with, Marab, and I'm training with Aljo. Dude, my second sparring session ever at the gym was with Marab Davalishvili. So talk about getting thrown into the wolves. I don't think there is a bigger wolf you can get thrown into the mix with than that guy.
So let's backpedal here a couple steps. You said you got into wrestling because you knew you wanted to go the MMA route and had aspirations to be a professional fighter. How did you know that you wanted to be a professional fighter or get into MMA? Were you scrapping as a young pup? Were you getting into scuffles at school? Was it just something that was in your nature? Or, I know for me and Jimmy, as lightweights, it's almost kind of like you sometimes you get bullied, so you have to learn how to defend yourself or to go after people.
Man, like, I gotta be honest, man. Like, if anything, I had to defend myself from my brothers.
Okay.
I feel
I
that.
left that part out.
So that, man, like I got 2 older brothers, man, and they're much older than me, man. They're like, one's 9 years older than me, the other's 13 years older than me. So they're much bigger, much older than me, and I had to learn to fight because of them. But I also grew up, watching professional wrestling, watching boxing, and all that stuff since I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was a huge boxing fan. She knew Emmanuel Stewart, who, I don't know if you guys know him, but he used to run the famous Kronk boxing gym, and he was the Tommy the Hitman Hearns boxing coach. You know what I'm saying? That guy's a legendary boxing coach in himself. So my mom was a huge fan of him, and then my brothers were huge pro wrestling fans. So, dude, when I was a kid, man, like from the moment I was born, I was on TV. I was only watching people in a squared circle, whether it was the real version of it or the predetermined version of it. Like, that was really all I was watching, man. So, when I was 12 years old and I was flipping through the channels one day and I saw Ken Shamrock, who I just thought was a pro wrestler. I didn't even know he was an MMA fighter at one point. But when I saw him in the ring, I was just like, man, like, I'd watched wrestling. I'd watch, pro wrestling. I'd watch kickboxing. I'd watch boxing. But I'd never seen what these guys were doing in the cage before. And when I saw them wrap that belt around Tito Ortiz's waist, man, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I really want to wear that belt. And now look at me all these years later. I got a couple of my own.
He always used to bust my balls because I was a Tito guy. But I think the reason why guys like us were drawn towards Tito was because he had that pro wrestling aspect. Every ounce of what he did, he was a pro wrestler. And I think he was really one of the first guys to take the pro wrestling persona and bring it into MMA.
100%, man. He had the flames and the pyro back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, even just changing it up with like always wearing the same fire shorts. You know what I mean? Like, he was entertainment, man, like pure entertainment. I know a lot of guys don't like him, and sure, they have a whole bunch of reasons to not like him, but at the end of the day, the guy's an entertainer, and he was a damn good one.
I will say I have grown to enjoy certain aspects of Tito Ortiz. I still think there's some cheese factor that I don't get down with, but I've definitely, from those early days of Team Punishment to now, have a definite appreciation for Tito, and especially what he's done for the sport.
100%, man. I mean, look, you got to look back at those fights where it was, that whole light heavyweight division, man, where it was him, Chuck, and Randy. And then you look at like all the other guys in that division, man. You look at like the Vitor Belforts who were around and still doing good. Rampage. All the guys in Pride who were still killing it. And those 3 were the top dogs, man. Like, in a really tough era to be successful at MMA, those guys really like showed that they were number one. Number 1, 2, and 3, really. With a bullet.
Yeah, and that was the golden age of MMA for me, at least. Those are the days I look back on fondly, when there was like 6 pay-per-views a year. Now it's way different and super oversaturated. But going back to you saying your youngest got a brother who's 9 years older and 13. Rich is 11 years older than me, and I know I wanted to get tougher to get back at him. Have you ever had that opportunity to get back at your brothers?
Man, you know what it was, man? By the time I got old enough to like actually stand a chance, they got cool. You know what I'm saying? So like now we're no longer fighting around the house. Now we're just cool and hanging out. So it's like I got to use this on other people. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. So with the broken hand right now, what are things looking like? How are you still moving around? Well, what's your daily? Or are you just kind of chilling?
Yeah, they want me to just chill with this thing right now. So they actually got 6 rods in here. It's nothing crazy, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a ridiculous, I didn't tear any tendons or any ligaments with the bone injury. It's just a standard bone break. It's going to take 6 weeks to heal. But they basically put in 6 rods. It's holding the bone in place right now. 3 more weeks, I take this thing off. We're back to rolling after a little bit of PT. And then 2022, man, we got a lot to do. It's a big year. We're going to make some big moments, man. I can't wait.
I will suggest when you do get that cast off and you're back up and moving and doing stuff, find yourself a solid acupuncturist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a broken foot, a fifth metatarsal, a Jones fracture.
Okay.
And they wanted to put a rod in my foot, and I opted not to do that. But I had a good friend who was an acupuncturist, and we did acupuncture 3 to 4 times a week. And then when I went back 2.5 months later for a second opinion, the surgeon, the orthopedic surgeon, said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Everything is healing really good." So things like, your hands and your feet that don't necessarily get great amount of blood flow for healing purposes, the acupuncture can help, bring blood flow into those areas and help promote good healing. So definitely, if that's something that's available, I'm sure there's probably some stuff in your area. Find a good one, get a good recommendation.
I got a great PT guy, man, Dr. Amato, at Bethpage Physical Therapy, like 5 minutes down the road from me, man. He does all my physical therapy, does everything top to bottom. So I'll ask him about that. He should definitely have it though.
Yeah, he might even do some dry needling, which is kind of similar to acupuncture. It's more of like a Western style, but it's got a lot of the similar properties to it.
Yeah. Okay. Shoot, man, I'll try it out. If it works, it works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having a broken hand give me a lot of time to think, I bet, and kind of focus on the things that are going to get you to that next level. What is that? Well, where is your mind right now? What are you doing to become the best Phumi that you can do with a broken hand right now?
Man, it's just constantly learning, constantly evolving, man. I think there's a misconception in this sport that and don't get me wrong, I think you always have to train and always be in the gym every day to train and learn and all that kinds of stuff, right? Like if I'm able-bodied, I should be going to the gym today, right? If not, then I'm gonna miss something. But in those times you can't go to the gym, and those times where you can't train, or you're busy, or whatever you got to do, you still have to be able to learn and grow in the sport. Fortunately for me, I'm a very good visual learner. So let's say, right, we got a buddy of ours, Sam Coos. He lets me and another buddy use his I think it's Daijitsu. It's either Daijitsu or one of those, man. But basically it's an account where you could basically buy a lot of the DVDs that these guys, Gordon Ryan and Jason Rao, our jiu-jitsu coach, a lot of these guys make. I think Khabib also has a video on there as well. But yeah, we don't mind buying some of those, man. So we got a whole library. I don't mind studying those for a couple hours, man, because I'll be driving myself crazy if I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still improving on things from the fight. And I'm still, looking at the fight and seeing where I got to grow, and then looking back at the tapes or looking back, at any of these DVDs and saying, okay, that's how I solve it in that situation. That's how I solve it in that situation. And then when I do go back into the gym, when I get this cast off, shoot, I get to go, with my coaches and bounce the information off of them and really even make it better. So we're still learning, we're still growing, and we're still the best in the world.
Do you have any recommendations or favorite techniques that you've picked up since you've been kind of sidelined right now? Anything that you've learned that
I would say I would 100% recommend the Danaher back system. I love it. Very good one. Even though Don Danaher does kind of speak a little slow, so it might be a little difficult for some people to watch, man. But I'm telling you, the information he's giving out is so world class, and it works, man. It's a real system. It's nothing out there where you're just doing one technique, and it's not a guess and check type of thing. It's, if this doesn't work, go to this, and then go to this, and then go to this, and then back to this, man. So you kind of, it's nice when you have technique that flows like that. You know what I'm saying? Because instead of just going for one move and learn to move, well, now you're learning a whole system of moves, and you make them work together. And damn, man, when you can do that, you can be really one of the best in the world. And you're almost throwing combinations out there. You know what I mean? Instead of just throwing one punch, it's like throwing a jab cross hook, except you're going for submission to pass to submission. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's even coming from the wrestling background and stuff, that ability to chain wrestle and go from move to move to move is so so crucial. And, we've been able to take in a good amount of college wrestling here in Colorado. And you see the level of people and that's where, you make those jumps is those kids or those young men that have the ability to chain wrestle and put 2, 3, 4 combination of moves together to score points.
And man, look, like, even if you look at, the top level wrestlers in the world, you know what I mean? Even Jordan Burroughs nowadays, he's not getting his first shot off. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Khabib, like, he's not getting his first shot off. You know what I'm saying? Khabib, sometimes you might have to shoot, get you against the cage, and then start working. Start chaining together his takedowns from there, right? Shoot against the cage, and then, after he gets a single leg, work to a double, and then that doesn't work. Then he goes to an upper body tie, and then he trips out the leg. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to go from one move to the next, to the next, to the next, especially because nowadays, man, people are smart, people are learning, and the sport is just growing so much.
Having that connection, between Sarah and Henzo and Danaher, have you had the opportunity to work with him at all?
No, man, I would love to, man. That would be like, that'd be like getting a present on Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So,
present in a rash guard.
President of rash guard. But yeah, dude, honestly, like getting to train like those 3 guys right there, Jason Rao, Matt Serra, John Danaher, like, dude, to be able to train with any one of those 3 guys, man, come on, it's gotta be one of the greatest things on earth.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned the Danaher back system, and that is some next level stuff. All the context is there for people trying to better themselves. So yeah, that's definitely one of the best. But out of those 3 names, everyone knows Matt Serra, the guy who knocked out GSP. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the first American black belts. I think his jiu-jitsu is slept on like drastically. Yeah. What is your thoughts on working with Matt, and how much has he helped your game and just fine tune the little things and having a world champ on your side as well?
Oh man, I mean, it's great getting to work with a guy like Matt, man, because you know what it is too. Like, think about Matt is, Matt and Ray. It's not just about the fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want you to win, but they also want you to kind of have a nice, peaceful life. You know what I'm saying? Like for them, it's more about fighting. So that's first things first. That's the real cool thing about getting to work with Matt. 2, I haven't seen a coach or fighter or anybody be able to articulate and walk anybody through a move the way Matt can, man. That guy, if you got somebody's back and you're having a tough time finishing, that's the guy you want in your corner. You know what I mean? You got a guy on the ground, you're looking for a submission, or a guy's got a submission on you. That's the guy you want, man, because he's going to be able to tell you step by step the perfect way to get out. And look, man, I don't know about, any of the other guys on the team. I'm pretty sure it's the same way. But anytime I've listened to him, it's always worked 100%. And at the end of the day, why would you not want a guy like that in your corner? A guy who wants you to win in the cage, who has the skills and all of that and the knowledge to help you win in the cage, but at the same time wants you to also just be the best person you could be and cares about you outside of the cage too, man. That's a package deal. It's great.
Are those guys making you laugh a lot? Because I feel like whenever I take in content from either one of them, they're cracking me up and in a good way. They're just funny. When I think of New York attitude, when I think of Long Island, those guys are like the epitome of that. And whether it's a podcast or something you see on video, or Dana White looking for a fight, I feel like Matt and then Ray with his content as well are just. I'm gonna laugh at some point. Is that like a daily occurrence at training?
Look, man, 100%. Look, if you're ever nervous for a fight and you're trying to get rid of your nerves and you fight on our team, just ask Ray and Matt to be in your corner. I'm telling you, like, the nerves are gonna go away just like this, just because in the back locker room they got everybody cracking up, man. But I think that's just, it kind of goes to show, like, back what I was even talking about before, like, for these guys, man, it's just about having a good life. You know what I mean? Like, the wins and losses, they're great, but it's just about a good life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the real cool thing about Ray and Matt. They're funny as hell, they're cool as hell, and they're also good as hell.
Yeah.
I must ask, when we're on the topic of Matt Serra, has he ever mounted you, and have you been able to get out? Because when he mounted that dude in the restaurant, that was like the best mount I've ever seen.
I've never actually grappled with Matt Serra, but I've heard he feels heavier than Chris Weidman, and
because he is
a big boy. You know
no disrespect, Matt.
Chris Weidman's a big boy, but yeah, they say Chris feels like a house on top of you. Matt feels like a planet on top of you.
And talking about Matt Serra's coaching acumen, what about Ray Longo? What does he bring? Obviously, he's one of the funniest guys, and he's going to tell you to punch a hole through someone's fucking chest. What does he bring into you in the cage, outside the cage? How does he help you become a better fighter?
Oh man, yet again, man, one, Ray's in the gym day in, day out. That's first things first. Like you're never gonna not be able to find Ray. You know what I'm saying? And that's for anybody, man. Like the amateurs, the pros, you know what I mean? The people who, just want to come in and get a workout, the people who are just fans of the sport and kind of want to work out just because they like the sport of MMA. Like Ray has no problem working with anybody, man. And I think that's one of the cool things about him. On top of the fact that, he's in the gym day in, day out, making sure that he's still working on his craft. That guy, man, whether the UFC is as big as it is today or not, he would still be in the gym training people and training himself, man. I truly believe that. And on top of that, man, like Ray's the kind of guy, man, where if I got a problem in my life, I can call him and be like, dude, Ray, I'm going through this, man. Like, what do I do? And dude, it doesn't matter if it's 1 a.m. or, 9 a.m. Probably not 9 because he's not up that early, but there, you know what I'm saying, for you in that way. And that's why you got to love the guy.
Yeah, they say when you pick the right team, you always win. And as important as it is to have those coaches and partners in the room, it's also really important to have those people that you can lean on outside of training, whether it be, a social issue or something where you just need someone to vent to or to lean on, and they're going to give you good, solid, sound, honest advice inside and outside of the cage or the octagon.
100%, man. And I think that's the thing too, is like Ray's going to tell you how it is. You know what I mean? Like I saw a fight this weekend where a coach told the fighter who clearly lost a round that, she won, and tweeted about it. And someone was like, wouldn't you maybe need to hear that anyways, just to like get your spirits going? And I'm like, nah, man, like you're lying to your fighter. Because if it's even going into the last round, you got to tell your fighter, all right, you need that round. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Ray, he'll tell you to your face, like, you need this round or you don't, or you need to finish, or, you're winning this round, or sometimes he'll tell you got to pick it up. You know what I mean? He's brutally honest with you in there, man. And you're not going to get any fugazi with him. And that's the reason why he's one of the best coaches. Him and Matt Serra, to be honest, the two best coaches in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things, is to trust who you have in your corner, right? If you trust who's in your corner, you can make some crazy stuff happen. And talking about Matt and Ray as your coaches, I'm sure there's some other guys there that don't get as much notoriety because they're not Ray Longo or Matt Serra. Do you have any other coaches you work with on the reg that you think should be known as a good coach and stuff like that?
Oh, I mean, look, man, I work a lot of my striking with Steve Lee as well. Him and I, we just bounce back and forth off ideas, man, for years. I think he joined the gym 2014, and we like really started picking up working together around like 2015, 2016-ish. And yeah, man, dude, we roll, man. We just bounce information off of information. And he's also one of those guys too, man, who's in the gym day in, day out trying to get better. So he's always looking at ways to grow, and I'm always looking at ways to grow, and then we bounce ideas off of each other, and then it helps, me grow out there and win these belts. You know what I'm saying? Jason Rao, my other jiu-jitsu coach, he teaches alongside with Matt. I'm telling you, man, like he's, Gordon Ryan has been on record saying that Jason Rao is his best training partner. You know what I mean? So, that guy, man, he's very world-class. I don't think he's gotten a chance to prove it yet competitively, but if you've ever been in the room with him, the guys like Craig Jones, the guys like, Gordon Ryan know, all the highest level guys know Jason Round. They know, like, that guy, man, in the room, he's probably like one of the top best guys in the world. So learning from him, man, him and Matt have taken my game from here in terms of jiu-jitsu all the way up to here, man. And there's just so many people I could probably give credit to, man. But if I could give credit to everybody, I'd even just give it to the entire law staff. Just everybody from Longo's, man, like the teammates, even then too, like, because you know what, the other thing too about Longo that's cool, man, is, there's people who don't even fight for a living that help these fighters. You know what I'm saying? Guys who are amateurs, guys who, are just regular people, regular jobs, who are sparring in the mix with guys like me and Marab and Aljo and all that stuff. So yeah, man, the whole staff plus, my PT guy, Dr. Amato, gotta give it up to those guys, man, because I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be with this belt without any of those guys.
And talking about, your PT getting healthy, when you are back and healthy, what's an average workload look like in terms of training, and what is your favorite discipline?
Gotta be honest, man, I don't know if people could really take my average my average work rate, man, like, because to be honest, the way I train when I'm out of camp, probably everybody trains when they're in camp. You know what I'm saying? Every day I'm training usually twice a day. If I train once a day, it's really just because I need the rest. But yeah, Monday it's usually twice a day. Tuesday is probably the hardest day of the week because we do jiu-jitsu, hard rounds of jiu-jitsu, and then hard rounds of boxing where everybody's just sparring each other. Then you got, the next day's another 2 sessions of, whether it's a cardio circuit with my PT guy or kickboxing. Thursday, jiu-jitsu, then sparring. Friday, you got jiu-jitsu in the morning, then maybe a circuit at night. I mean, then you got sparring on Saturday, another circuit on Sunday. Monday, we do it all back again. On top of the fact that, man, sometimes we just hit each other up just to train, just because we want to, just because we want to push each other. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, we do a lot of training over here. I do a lot of training, especially as well. And you're probably not going to find many people who train as often and as hard as me, even outside of camp.
Yeah, we always like to say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready over here. So like you said, we train whether it's, in camp or out of camp, so to speak, for our respective things.
Look, if you can't do 3 5-minute rounds when you're off season, then man, you shouldn't be a fighter, in my opinion. That's the way I look at it. Like, you have to be able to, if the UFC calls you and says, hey man, we need a fight next week. All right, cool. I can already do 3 5s, no problem. And then trust me, like, if you're doing it the right way, you're training the right way, 3 5-minute rounds is nothing. It's a joke. Like, I'm not saying it's a joke. I'm not saying, the fights will be easy. But what I'm saying is, cardiovascularly, if you are cardiovascularly responsible, you should always be able to do 3 5s. 4 and 5, those rounds get really hard, man. And I've been, close to those rounds. I've been in, round 4. Championship rounds get tough, but you should always be able to fight at least 3 5-minute rounds. I don't care who you are in the sport.
So are you doing road work as well, or are you getting all of your conditioning from fight-based training?
Well, we do circuits as well, man. So, we push a hard pace when we do the fight training. So, I'm pushing as hard of a pace as I can anyways. I'm pushing a fight pace when I do that anyways. But 2, on top of that, man, my guy, Dr. Amato, he's also, my strength coach as well. So we hit the weights hard, and we don't just hit weights, man. We do circuits with the weights. So we're going for power, speed, and strength, while at the same time as we're going for reps. So we're trying to we'll put on the 5 minutes, and we'll try and clear out that whole circuit as many times as we can, 3 5 minutes, you know what I mean? So that way we can replicate the fight. Or in the case of my CFFC title fights, we do 4 5-minute rounds. You know what I'm saying? So between that, also doing other circuits with Ray Longo as well, where we do the sled treadmill circuit. We also do the puke drill. We also have hill sprints. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. At the end of the day, like, those are the things we add in when we do have camp. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, I'm always doing the circuits with the weights, and I'm always training hard at the gym. I might not always be doing the puke drill, unless I have a fight, but trust me, we're always doing everything to stay in shape.
What's the puke drill?
We'll talk about it off camera. I don't want to give away.
All good. So talking about you need to be able to get, was it 3 5s or just 1 5-minute round?
3 5s.
All right. So
standard MMA fight is 3 5-minute rounds.
So talking about being able to go for that whenever, right? You're a professional fighter. Was that something you found out the hard way, or is that just the mindset you've had in you from wrestling?
I think it's a bit of both, man. Because I think wrestling kind of helped me push that pace. You know what I'm saying? Because I worked hard, as a kickboxer when I was before I wrestled, and I had even done jiu-jitsu, and I worked hard too and pushed the pace. But wrestling, man, like you guys know, is different, and the pace you have to push is a little bit different, and the cardio you have to be able to keep is different. You know what I'm saying? So wrestling makes me automatically push that pace as is. But I remember, my first Bellator fight, I was pushing that pace, and I'm going out into the third round, man, and I was so exhausted. I felt so gassed, man, and I was just like, I know I'm tired, but I know he's even more tired. But after that fight, I would spar more with Marab, and I was just like, dude, I got to work more. I got to work even more so that way I can push that wrestling pace, but I can push it even harder. I can push a pace even harder than that wrestling pace that I push. Now I'm pushing, a pace that's fast because I'm just a fast person, but now I'm pushing a pace that's fast and that can last a long time, on the same realm as like a guy like Marab, or the same realm as like a guy like Khabib. I could push a fast pace and a hard pace for a long time. And I think that's the difference between me and a lot of the other guys out there, even the other cardio freaks out there. They can't do it like me.
You hear a guy like Justin Gaethje, who is, college All-American, but he really doesn't use his wrestling. And when asked, he says, you get too tired when you're using your wrestling in there the whole time. Do you feel that, or is your conditioning so good that you're using your wrestling, or are you picking those spots and really not taking those shots unless needed, or you're seeing that opening?
Look, man, you've seen it before. I could wrestle for 20 minutes straight. Like, at the end of the day, we push a tough pace, and, you're going to get tired in the ring. You're going to get a little tired. If you're not feeling a little tired in the ring, you're not pushing a hard enough pace. But I'll tell you what, as soon as that fight ends, I'm not breathing hard. You know what I mean? And, I think it's a testament to how much wrestling, we do in the gym, how much wrestling that I personally do myself, and how much wrestling that I've studied and worked on over the years. I know how to push a pace with the wrestling, and I also know how to not waste your energy as well. And that's another thing, man, that and you guys know it too, because you've been wrestling for a long time. You get in on a leg, you can very quickly drain yourself of energy if you don't know how to hang on to that leg correctly. You know what I'm saying? Then you're just doing a whole bunch of squeezing. You know what I'm saying? So, I've technically learned how to be able to wrestle for a long time at the same time as, physically as well.
And there's no better feeling than feeling someone break under your pressure.
Oh, man. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've gotten knockouts before, and I've gotten submissions. But, dude, like, when you break somebody and you feel them just give away, that's the absolute best feeling in there, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, it's unfortunate too, but at the same time, when you're talking about hanging onto a leg or hanging onto something, it is an awful feeling to feel like you've worked so hard to try to get something and come away with nothing, and then have nothing to give in your arms or your grip, and you're just like, oh, I got to get through this round or this period and circle the wagons a little bit to get some of that lactic cleared out of my arms and my grip.
And that's the major key, man, is like being able to fight that and fight that lactic acid, man. Look, I don't know if you guys noticed, but usually for the most part, when a lot of guys in these MMA fights, they get out of a grappling exchange, they take a second. You know what I mean? Almost every single time. I don't care if it's in the UFC. I don't care if it's in CFFC or LFA or in the amateurs. Most times they get in a scramble, and then after that scramble, they got to shake it out. They got to take a breath. Why? Cause dude, it's different, man. When you're going from squeezing really hard to having all of a sudden have to move your arms and be able to flow, it ain't easy, man. It definitely ain't easy.
So obviously, 5-0, CFC champ, haven't lost the fight, but obviously, mentioning some of the names we've mentioned that you train with, I'm willing to bet there's been some hard days in practice. How do you keep that champ's mindset when you're having those hard days in practice, knowing that those are your training partners, those aren't the guys you're fighting, and they're only there to, get you better?
But that's it, showing up the next day, man, and pushing again. I think there's a lot of differences between me and some of the other people out there. One of them is this: I genuinely love this. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to fight to get me into the gym. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those guys who I go in there very nervous thinking like, oh, man, like it's going to be this or I got to worry about this. Nah, man, I'm coming in happy as hell and excited to learn. That's the mentality I have. And with that mentality, man, like Marab or Aljo or anybody could take me down 1,000,000 times or kick me, 1,000 times or punch me 1,000,000 times, and I'm still show up the next day. Why? Because even if I got hit 1,000,000 times, the next day I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna try and get hit 999. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna try and get hit 999,999 times. You know what I'm saying? Like just one less. That way I can get a little bit better. And I think that's the goal. That's the mindset. And if you're not like that, man, you're gonna eventually end up failing because if you're always winning in the gym and you're not getting challenged, you're not getting tested physically and mentally and otherwise, and somebody's gonna physically and mentally and test you in that ring, and you better be able to pass.
And mentioning being in the gym and getting to the gym and always being happy, is fighting your main job right now?
Yeah, man, that's my main job. even before I was making money, it was my main job.
So that, congratulations, because I think that anyone who grew up wrestling in that lifestyle, that's all you wanted to do was do that full time. So congratulations, man. Yeah. Regardless of anything that happens from here on out, you've already won a little bit, dog.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And like I was saying, man, that it just goes back to that. Like, I'm able to wake up and be happy and just go to the gym and learn and do the stuff I love to do every day with cool people. Like, you're right, man. That is the dream. So thank you so much. That is the dream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, when you get into that arena and you have that spotlight on you and the cameras on you, there's a lot of people looking at you. So you have people also that want to work with you and build your brand. How has that been for you? Do you have anyone helping with you with that? Are you active participant on social media, or are you just focused on training, or do you see the benefit of building a brand and having outside sources that are also supplementing the income?
I mean, I'm a brand, and
yeah,
the Turbo brand is pretty strong too. Luckily I got a great manager, man. One of the top dogs in our sport, Oren Hodak. He, man, honestly, I don't know if there's a manager who works harder than the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a 2-0 fighter, this guy was able to get me sponsorships and deals that were able to pay my rent at the time, man. And you guys know what it's like living on the East Coast. Rent ain't cheap out here. You know what I'm saying? So for him to help me with that, I got to give him his ups, his credit as a manager. He also helped me get me this title fight as well, for the first time when I was a 2-0 fighter. So he's really, kind of helped taking me to that next step, taking me, to where I know I should be, to where I know I am, and to where we both know we could be. And now Oren and I, man, we're working. We got sponsorships out the wazoo. You know what I mean? We got a lot going on, man. So the future's very bright.
So speaking of building that brand, I know you went to AEW when it was in Newark. I was there as well, but I saw you were sitting on the hard cam side. Were those comp tickets?
No. Tickets. I got those tickets. But if you do want to go to an AEW show, I'd recommend sitting on that side though.
Yeah, that looked like the spot to be, and it looked like that's where all the workers from AEW were sitting. It didn't necessarily look like it was people buying tickets. That's why I asked that.
Yeah. You know what too? Like, and I'm like a real I guess nerd about, you know, all that kind of stuff, like, you know, the actual show. You know what I'm saying? So getting to sit behind the production, you know what I mean, and get to see how they got to, you know, change and all that, like change cues. That was also really cool, man. So yeah, if you ever go to an AEW show, if they're ever in Colorado, dude, sit on the hard cam side.
Yeah, dude, it's funny you say that about the production side of things, because when we were at the show, I was just watching the cameras for a lot, because I'm going to school for film and television. So I was just watching where the camera was when they were switching off to it. So I love that stuff too. That's kind of, I got a broken body, but I still think I can get into pro wrestling on the production side of things. So fingers crossed for that. Maybe one day we'll see you in the squared circle.
Look, man, I got to prove I'm the best mixed martial artist in the world. But if any of those guys mess around, they're going to get your whooping too.
Is that anything you would like to try? Or, maybe when the MMA is done, you're fully focused on MMA these days?
I mean, I'm fully focused on MMA, man. I still have a name to make for myself. I still got to prove I'm the best in the world. I know I'm the best in the world at this sport. You know what I mean? And my coaches do. But now it's time to just prove it on the big stage and at the highest level. So I got to get to the UFC and make sure they all know my name there. And if any of those AEW guys wants to come a chirping, I'll hand out an ass whooping anywhere.
And, speaking of AEW, ROH shows back in the day, how stoked are you that AEW is around these days? Because for a long time, you had to scour the internet to watch indie pro wrestling and stuff, but now they're all in one fed, and we don't have to watch WWE anymore.
Oh man, like that was the thing. It was either you have one option or that was it, man. And it's almost like right, like, comedy. If you want to watch comedy on TV, you had, I guess if I was using to example, you got I Love Raymond or whatever that show was, and then nothing else on TV. That was the only comedy you could watch. And it was just like, dude, like it kind of sucked because it really sucked, man, because it's like sometimes that show wasn't even so bad, but it's just like, man, I want to watch something else than, I Love Raymond, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to watch other TV, but then when it was bad, man, holy crap, like it felt like it was the only thing you could watch. You really have to go out of your way to watch Ring of Honor or watch PWG or watch New Japan. Yeah, it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty cool. I like the exposure of pro wrestling. I like how big it's getting. I like how many more people are having eyes on the sport. And I think, man, just the bigger it grows, the bigger MMA grows, the bigger combat sports grow as a whole. I think it all helps. I think it's great, man, because I think pro wrestling is great, and I think mixed martial arts is great. And to be fair, they're both basically the same thing anyways. So I don't understand when people like one and then they hate the other, you know what I'm saying? Or they talk one down as if one is much better than the other. Dude, I think they're both two of the coolest things. And AEW having their own platform now to kind of give other wrestlers a platform that wasn't there before, I think it's really dope, really cool. And right now they're the best promotion in the world, no doubt.
Love your perspective on that. I agree with everything you said, and especially with the MMA and pro wrestling being the same. I think because we grew up watching wrestling and we know the history of how pro wrestling started. We're like, oh yeah, this is the same. But for people who never watch pro wrestling and they just assume it's fake, there's that stigma. But I think guys like you who are promoting pro wrestling, letting people know, hey, I love pro wrestling and I'm a badass fighter. I think more people like you can help bridge that gap between MMA and wrestling. So keep it up, brother.
Thank you, man. And that's at the end of the day, man, like I was saying, you were saying it too. They're basically the same thing, man, at the end of the day. And I think that's what got me into the sport of mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? Obviously I was watching pro wrestling before mixed martial arts, but I honestly don't think that if I had never seen people fighting in a squared circle before, that if I'd watched MMA and I'd seen it, who knows, maybe I'd be turned off to it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd never seen anything like that before. But for sure, I'm happy I found pro wrestling because it helped me find MMA.
Yeah, and I don't know if you experienced this, but when I started watching MMA, to me, that was the real ECW, right? That was the real, no rules and kind of just bridge gap. Like, oh, this is what they were trying to do in ECW.
Yes, that was like when I found MMA, that was like my version of like finding, because my brother told me about Ring of Honor when I was a kid. When I was young, like my brother was much older, so he like when I was like, yeah, I'm done watching WWE. Cena's always winning. I'm tired of this. I was a kid saying this, and he goes, "Look, man, there's this thing called ROH. Trust me, you're gonna love this." You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that was like my version of it. Like, I was just watching TV and I was just like, holy crap. Like, I found this holy grail called mixed martial arts. And now I'm just, one, trying to reap the benefits off of it, and two, just trying to take it all the way to the top.
I know this is a general question, so you don't have to give me one, but who are your favorites as far as promos? Who do you like to study?
As far as promos or fighting?
Well, who are your favorite wrestlers, pro wrestlers, and favorite pro wrestling promos?
My favorite pro wrestlers right now, look, man, I might give you different answers than what you might expect. So I'm gonna just throw that out there. But I guess right now, my top three, I probably have to throw Okada in there. And this is in no order, by the way. Definitely got to throw Okada up there. Definitely got to throw Bryan Danielson up there. And right now, man, if I could give one more third guy, dude, you probably have to throw the Briscoes in there too, man.
Absolutely.
Man, they're awesome and they're badass, and I could watch those guys all day. In terms of promos, if you don't have MJF and CM Punk on there, then you're doing something wrong. You're crazy, and you're out of your mind. Number three, shoot, you might be able to put me up there because my promos are pretty damn good.
Good answers, all respectable, especially with that last one. Rich, do you have anything else for Phumi before we get into rapid fire?
I do, but I think it would just take us down a whole nother rabbit hole, and we've got a good flow going here. So I was just going to get into like the nutrition aspect of it and weight cutting, and just curious about like how you go about that. What's that process like for you? I know you say you go into the room every day and you're smiling and you're happy because you're stoked to be learning. And I know as a wrestler, sometimes the weight cutting aspect of that can take away from the enjoyment of it. So I was just wondering, maybe quickly before we get into rapid fire, like what do you, if you can, what do you walk around out typically, and what is how much are you sucking down to fight week?
What I walk around, it depends. I try and get my weight down to a certain amount, but I'm typically around like 145, 143. And I'm a pretty dense guy too, so I bring a lot with that. And then towards fight week, I try and get my body down as low as I can, because I don't like to just drop the weight. Last time around for my fight in December, I kind of had to drop the weight a little quick. Some things happened at the end of my last camp, and we had to drop the weight quick, and I felt the effects pretty quickly. So I like to get my weight down as much as I can before I make that real cut.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with staying ready, so you don't have to get ready in terms of getting that last minute call for a huge opportunity. Then one, you're always in shape and ready to go, and two, you don't have to pull too much where that could potentially affect you in later rounds, or maybe leave you vulnerable from a hit that maybe with a good weight cut you wouldn't have to worry about. So those are two good important things.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, weight cutting is very intelligent, and not just how you cut weight, but also how you rehydrate as well. And I think I had a very bad weight cut, but my rehydration process and the way I rehydrate is very flawless, very well done. I've learned it from Tony Ricci, who's a Fight Science Institute teacher. He's amazing coach, and him in and of himself. That process, I think, kind of saved me. You know what I mean? Because if I didn't rehydrate well, I think we probably would be looking at a different fight. But luckily, I rehydrated well, so a bad weight cut, didn't really mean as much.
Yeah, rehydration is everything, right? If you take in too much, you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. If you're taking too little, same.
How you take it in too.
Yeah.
Timing too of when you take it in. So all that stuff is important.
Are you also focused outside of camp? Or are you focused on nutrition? Do you have a certain, foods you eat, foods you don't eat?
I was just gonna say, man, I'm sponsored by Empire Nutrition, man. best foods on the island. They might have a couple spots in New Jersey. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what, if you're on Long Island, Empire Nutrition is the spot you want to go to. They help me 24/7, 365, man. You know what I mean? Like, even though I'm just chilling at the house today, I'm not eating BS. I'm not going to get McDonald's. I'm going to go get my Empire Nutrition meal. And they make them very healthy, very nice, very lean. And they're made by my boy, Chef Omar Sultan, Chef Oski. And that guy, man, I've been having him cook for me for over, 5 years at this point. So I'm always in shape. Even, in terms of what I eat, I'm always doing the right thing, and I'm always in shape.
Yeah, those buffalo chicken meatballs look pretty tasty. I saw in that one promo video you did.
They were good.
I get down with that for sure.
Yeah.
And he's not too bad at cutting promos himself.
Hey, man. You got to get Omar on here, man. That's what I was trying to tell him.
Yeah, he's pretty slick. He likes the microphone in his face.
Yeah, he's good. I think he's actually even trying to grow his Instagram channel, man. He's actually a very good cook, man. Like, not just healthy food, but the reason why I trust him to cook my meals is because it's healthy, but they also taste good. It doesn't feel like he's giving you lunch food, and it doesn't feel like he's giving you something that was served to 1,000 other people. It feels like home cooked, real meals straight for you.
Yeah, and that's so important. Having good, healthy meals, whether it's keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, whatever it is, like it can and should taste good. And, eating healthy and being healthy doesn't have to be bland and boring.
So at the same time too, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's just better to overall be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you put into your body, man, is everything. And if you're putting garbage into your body and then your body starts, acting like garbage, that's on you, because that's all you're putting in it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. And again, brother, don't have to work, getting your meals paid for. Congratulations, dude. That is the dream, and you're living it. So, good shit.
I'm not gonna lie, as soon as that happened, I think I called somebody, and I was just like, I can die happy now.
It's truth, man. It's those little things that keep you going, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, seriously, man. Like, dude, if as a fighter, if somebody could help you train and help you, eat and just make all that stuff just a little bit easy for you, dude, that's what it's about. But on top of that, man, like, the people that I work with are good people too. So, I never have to really feel bad about anything at all, man. I love who I work with. You know what I mean? So I don't even mind, promoting them as well.
Right on. So, Phumi, we got 4 rapid fire questions that we ask all our guests and how we like to finish off. So, first one is, are you a coffee drinker?
I'm not. Actually, it depends on the situation. I'll only drink a cappuccino, though.
Right on. Do you not mess around with caffeine?
I try not to, man. I try and be good about it. You know what I mean? I know it's not good for you. And I know your body can get used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything your body can kind of just get used to, I try not to put in my body.
Respect.
It's hanging around with Longo. You got that cappuccino going, right?
Drinks it straight black, man. He's got no soul. So drinking it straight black like his heart.
I love it. Phumi, do you have any daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of yourself?
Yeah, I have reminders on my phone that I watch, or not watch, but I set reminders on my phone, and they pop up every day. And sometimes they'll say a couple of things. Some of them are to be thankful. I'll have one reminder to be thankful. I'll have one reminder on my phone that just says remember, just to basically remember the bad times. Remember times when, I was sleeping in a parking garage in my car because, I wanted to train and I didn't have a place to live. You know what I mean? I was, any time where I had to face real hard adversity, I use that reminder for it, and it makes me think like, okay, that's where I was, here's where I am. And then also, like, I kind of got other reminders too, man, just to kind of make sure, just to stay the course. You know what I'm saying? To stay the course and don't be you. Because the world is a funny way of throwing things at you, man. And if you just go with the wind, go with the waves, life can take you anywhere, man. But if you have a place you want to go, you can't just go anywhere with the wind. You got to keep it straight and narrow. So if anything, those are some of the little things that I do every single day. I set reminders and I watch those reminders to kind of keep being me.
I love it. Yeah, I like that for sure. What are you listening to right now? Music-wise, podcasts, audiobooks? You reading anything?
Do TV shows count? TV shows?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. Dude, I'm watching this show called Power, Ghost. I don't know if you guys watched like the original Power show, but there's a spin-off of it with this little kid named Tariq. He's crazy. He's a little bad kid who could have been like a nice kid, but his parents were rich, but he ended up being a drug dealer because he wanted to be a freaking cool kid. I don't know. It's a really great show. I love it. It was pretty dope. Also, I saw Spider-Man the other week, and that was really dope. So I'm watching cool stuff.
Right on. What network is that show on?
It's on Stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And so what's
I'm watching AEW every week, man.
We already knew that.
Yeah.
What's your go-to for training purposes, music-wise?
Oh man, go-to. Shoot, man. I'll probably Ludacris or DMX, like old school, like not even like the popular songs, but just just their vibe. I like the energy that they kind of have in their music. So, probably some old school Ludacris or old school DMX. Actually.
What's your walkout?
You Don't Know by Jay-Z. Every time I like that song, man, because if you listen to the lyrics, he's talking about where he was, how he was kind of supposed to grow up, but kind of just basically the song is just really about how he's a hustler and how he's not going to let anything stop him. He never gave up on himself, and he shouldn't be where he is, but it's basically a song where Jay-Z's talking about how he was in the gutter, but now he's a multi-millionaire. And then in the third verse, he says, now I'm a multi-millionaire. And so I think it's just a great rap song about, going from rags to riches, but, just not from a perspective of doing bad things to get there, but in terms of just being a hustler and putting your nose to the grind and just working day in and day out.
Phumi, when you're not sharpening your sword, polishing your craft, trying to be the best version of yourself and make those title runs, do you ever find yourself, do you have a conspiratorial mind? Do you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
I'm not going to lie, man. At this point, I'm starting to believe a lot of them. So oh man, I don't know if I got a favorite one at this point. And even if it is my favorite, I don't even know if I can say it on this podcast. They might come. That's me putting my tinfoil hat on.
Right on. We wear those every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, come on, why not? You're supposed to just believe everything's all sunshine and rainbows over here.
That's right. Can't be batting 1,000.
You look great with that belt on your shoulder. Keep up the great work. See you doing your thing and knowing that, there's a bunch of little rhinos out there. We're all doing our thing, representing. Just warms my heart. Keep it up, dog. And I wish nothing but the best for you.
Thank you, man. I'm going to keep it up. And speaking of people from Rhino doing well, quick shout out to my boy, Frank Wells. He won earlier on the card that night. He's still killing it. And I think he might be back in the cage in April. So watch out for that guy.
Yeah, of course. So always keeping an eye on Franklin.
100%.
Phumi, it was great to meet you. An awesome conversation. We really appreciate your time. Have a great afternoon, evening, and get that hand healed up. And look forward to seeing you back in there.
It's always good talking, guys, and hopefully we talk again once I get to the UFC.
Hell yeah!
You know it.
No, baby.
Take care, champ.